The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Shalom. Call Haloyamla, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahweh Shai, Barakta Racha Kodash, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Shalom and double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elders in the Akim and the Akwat of the elect. Shalom. I just wanted to go into a quick video. A couple days ago, there was a train that got derailed and caught on fire, which released a terrible black cloud of toxic, harmful chemicals. And by reports and accounts, this was not a by chance, or it wasn't by accident. And there was a movie called White Noise that came out, I believe, last year, called White Noise, and it was in like a train had derailed it in Ohio. So a train derailed and caught on fire the same way. And so we know on the left-hand side, we're not ignorant of its devices, right? Because that's the left hand, because it's called predictive programming, and they do it through their cartoons, through The Simpsons, and the Family Guy, and other cartoons and other movies. It's called predictive programming, where they'll put it in a movie or a cartoon before it happens. Because in that movie called White Noise on Netflix, a train derailed, caught on fire the same way, and the people had to evacuate in the city over in Ohio. And this happened in real life the other day. And where? Ohio, it's called East Palestine, or it's called Palestine, Ohio. So this is life imitating art, the art being the Hollywood witchcraft left-hand side prophesying that they do on the left hand with witchcraft and sorcery. So, that's Esau way on the left hand side, trying to be like the Most High, the so-called white race, with their Hollywood and putting their low-level prophesying in movies and television and music and so forth. And so when this train had derailed, it had some very extremely hazardous, potent, toxic chemicals, and it was dioxin. And so, real quickly, go ahead and get it. On the chlorine and the bleach, dioxins right here. So, it says dioxins are called persistent organic pollutants, meaning they take a long time to break down once they are in the environment. So those dioxins got released when that train derailed over there in East Palestine, Ohio, and it caught on fire, and now it's in the atmosphere and in the waters around there, in the surrounding waters. And so in the air, it's going to persist for a while in the air. So it won't break down. It take a long time to break down in the air. So it says, meaning they take a long time to break down once they are in the environment. And that could be in the air, water, or wherever it's at, right? Polluting wherever it goes. So dioxins are highly toxic and can cause cancer, reproductive, and developmental problems. And that's extremely bad for children, because they're still in their infancy and their developmental process. As adults, we've developed or whatever, but especially in children, it'll stunt their growth, literally, right? Their mind and other things, and that's very terrible thing. Damage to the immune system and can interfere with hormones. So I just wanted to go ahead and touch on that real quick to get the definition, so we can understand the how bad this gas is that's got released. So right here in the title it says dioxins released after Ohio train derailment persist in the environment and collect in lipids, meaning they will contaminate milk, cheese, eggs, and meat from farms and ranches. So it's going to pollute, the areas and the food. So it says the massive chemical dioxin plume created by the controlled explosion at the site of the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment will contaminate the food supply in ways that most people could never imagine. Dioxins, a chemical byproduct of the burning of vinyl chloride, and chloride is what is in Clorox and chlorine, and so that's and we know how potent Clorox is, right? And just think about it when it's at its most potent form and it's being burnt in the atmosphere, right? Excuse me. So the burning of vinyl chloride and other chemicals, and hormonally toxic and extremely persistent. They bear a double benzene ring structure that brings them that makes them extremely durable. While that's why it takes a while for it to break down because they're very durable toxins. While their planar or flat molecule shape is a key factor in their toxicity. So it sounds like it's describing Esau Edom, which is a toxic and pollutant to the earth, right? To all the other races. That's the top wicked nation on earth. We are already seeing lots of dead fish and other animals in the path of the plume. But what about all the farms nearby and in neighboring states? What will become of their food, animals, and crops upon exposure to all those dioxins floating around in the air? According to Planet Waves FM's Eric, whatever Coppolino says, dioxins are also bioactive. They latch onto lipids and embed themselves, passing through the food chain and toxifying the bodies of the people who consume the contamination. So, the phrase "you are what you eat." And so, if these animals are absorbing these chemicals, it's going to stay in their bodies when people eat it, and then it's going to get into their system, right? And so it says, strangely, everything the media lied to us concerning the C19 virus, it says is actually true. Is actually true for chemically bioactive dioxins. So everything they was claiming about that, that virus, right? Now this is actually going to have an effect like that, which bear contagion factors such as their ability to pass through from mother to child through breast milk, or to pass through contaminated food. So whoever it gets contaminated, they can pass it off, right? Dioxins are connected to every other toxins issue that ever lived, from DDT to PCBs to Roundup. And Roundup is that weed fertilizer, and they sprayed that on the food and the vegetables. They say that they do it to kill the weeds, but then they spraying all of the foods. So Esau just a mad scientist, and the devil the Bible speaks of, right? Coppolino explains, adding that dioxins are odors or orders of magnitude above in their effects. So I'll just go ahead and skip over real quick, read a couple of these headlines. It says, dioxins occur as a byproduct of chlorine, and that's what's in Clorox. And if you burn that, just think about the horrible, toxic fumes that'll be in the air, right? Which is used in many consumer products, including paper and feminine hygiene products. And then I'll read this headline here. It says, dioxins accumulate inside the body and can cause cancer and other health problems. As stated earlier, that it can affect, the immune system and stunt developmental process as well in children. That'll be affected the most because they're the ones that need the most development. But I'll leave the link to this article in the description if you want to read the whole thing. But want to just touch on it and see how bad it is. And this was a predictive programming where they put it in a movie that came out last year called White Noise on Netflix. And it was a trail. It was about a trail getting derailed, a train getting derailed in Ohio, and then it let off this toxic gas, right? And then this just happened again, and now this just happened in real life. So this is just Esau putting it in movies and right in your face before it happens. So that it can't. So that's not a coincidence. The same exact thing: a train derailment and burning, toxic gas and smoke, and then and then it happens in the same exact city, right, in the same state of Ohio. So it's just the devil the Bible speaks of at work. So we'll go ahead and grab some precepts and close out. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Who is the righteous? The righteous seed is the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac to Jacob, who was the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. And our head is Yahweh Shah, the Messiah, who sits on the right hand of Yahweh right now until he comes to restore order and take this evil, wicked beast out of power. So that's how, when the righteous are in authority in the kingdom of heaven, the people are going to rejoice because they want to do what? They're going to be ruled over in righteousness and no more of this kind of stuff right here going on. Excuse me. So, but when the wicked beareth rule, Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, the people mourn. There's nothing but mourning, and people are concerned with what's going on. People are beginning to have to evacuate as well out of that area, and fish and animals are being killed off or dying right now because of it. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. Is what these are facts. We're reading it. We just read it. And so Job chapter 30 and verse 5. It says, whose harvest. I'm sorry, this is Job 5. Job chapter 30 and verse 5. They were driven forth from among men. And this is Esau Edom. This was the prophecy of Esau Edom. When they got driven off, when they fell in Rome, around 400 or so AD, they got driven away from men. They got driven up into those caves. That's why That's why they were going by that name, Caucasian, which means cave dweller. They got chased away. They were driven away from men into the caves. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, because the thief of the earth is Esau Edom, because he's in lands he occupies lands throughout the earth that has a indigenous race that once had it before him rightfully, but he has it unrightfully, right? Because he's the thief of the earth. Verse 6. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, Caucasian cave dweller, in the mountains, in the mountains, and in the rocks. That's why he made the cartoon show and the movies, the Flintstones, living in rocks, living in caves. Verse 7. Among the bushes they braid. When a horse that makes that braying sound, when he makes that loud braying sound. I can't make that sound, but that's what they do. Like that guy Tim Allen in that old TV show called Home Improvement. He make that KB sound. That's what they be doing. But it was a lot, it's a lot more animated than that. So they're like dogs, right? Under the nettles, they were gathered together. And that's why they love also those. It's called the Running Man. Like a I don't know what they call it. It's called the Running Man, like week or something like that, where they come together out there in the desert, and they have all of these terrible they have these concerts and they do all kind of drugs and all manner of fornication out there. So that's how they gather together under the nettles, and that's their ancient lifestyle and culture. In verse 8, they were children of fools, children of base men, because they're the lowest level man on earth. They were viler than the earth, so they're the lowest level man on the whole entire planet. So because everything they do is pure, wickedness. In verse 9, and now am I their song, I am their byword. And this is Job is he's prophesying because now he's become their byword because one of his so-called friends was a Edomite, and they were giving him a hard time. He was going back and forth with them as well. So, and this was a prophecy for us because Job is a reflection, direct reflection of the Israelites. We got led to the promised land during the days of Moses and Joshua. Into the promised land, we had our carnal kingdom, and then we lost it. The Most High took it away from us because we were wicked, pursuant to Ezekiel chapter 16. And then we lost everything, right? And that's where we're at right now. And then we're going to gain everything back in the kingdom of heaven and have even more. And that's because Job he had all kind of wealth and wives, right? And substance. And then the Most High took it away and allowed Satan to afflict him for a season. And then he had more than what he had in the beginning. Because Job is just a microcosm of the nation of Israel as a whole of what we're about to get at our last end. The same way Job did. For eternity, though, this time. And then, see, we're Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, byword and proverb right now. Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, shall lead thee. So we got scattered amongst the four corners of the earth into captivity. And so we're a proverb and a byword being insulted, because that's showing you that Job is a representation of the Israelites. He became a proverb and byword to the Edomite Eliphaz that was a fake, a false friend. And then also the Israelites now, or the Edomites, proverb and byword today, and all the nations follow Esau, wander after the beast, Esau, Edom, and they do the same exact thing. They all look at us, look down their nose at us, right? But actually, we're the righteous, we're the royal bloodline, and everybody else, all the other nations are heathen and beneath us. So Revelation 20 and 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and that was in Europe when they fell out of Rome in around 400 A.D. Because Europe is the most resource deficient pit of land on the planet. So that's that bottomless pit because it has no resources. That's why Europe today has to import everything, all goods, the only thing they export at a high level are cars, right? Those European foreign cars, because they have to create exports. They don't have natural exports. They have to have artificial exports because it's a bottomless pit that produces nothing for them to be able to export naturally. So and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up in those caves, as we just read in Job 30, how they was chased away from among men, and they was in the caves and cliffs of the rock, and set a seal upon him. So when the Most High set that seal, you're going to do whatever the Most High seals. So he sealed it for them to be put in the caves for a while over in Europe, and that's where they were at for 1,000 years. Reading on, it says that he should deceive the nations no more, because he's the deceiver, the devil the Bible speaks of, a slanderer, and he lies. Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and that was the end of that 1,000 years. He called it the Middle Ages, the Medieval Ages, or the Dark Ages, because that's when we ruled Europe, the Israelites, so-called black man, the tribe of Judah, because we took over, and it was called the Byzantine Empire. You can look that up. Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after, because they came out during the 1400s, called the Renaissance period. Renaissance means is a French word that means rebirth. Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that, he must be loosed a little season, and that's that little season right now, from the Renaissance period around the 1400s until now. And now he's running amok, and he's tearing everything down, destroying everything. Why? Because he know that he's only out for a little season, and wickedness and filth cannot rule for eternity. Only purity and holiness and righteousness under Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And joint heirs with the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, will be the elect of Israel. Then ultimately all Israel after they suffer the second death, which is the thermonuclear fire and missiles. Lord willing, we're not of that judgment, right? So reading on, we'll go to Revelation 12 and 12. And this is why he's destroying and doing this, right? This is part of the reason, because he knows that he's not going to rule forever. He doesn't have the birthright. The Israelites do. Verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. So all the earth, even the sea creatures and the land creatures, right? And the air creatures, because this stuff is affecting everything. From that train derailment, right? And along, and that's just one of the many things, right? For the devil is come down unto you. Devil means deceiver and slanderer. He slanders us through the media and just lie, right? Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that's why he's destroying everything. Like, if you are ruling and you're supposed to rule righteously forever, right? If you're rightfully supposed to rule, why are you destroying everything? Because it's not his. And if it's not his, so he's going to go ahead and destroy it and try to destroy all of the people and animals, right? Because that's just the devil that he is. Ecclesiastes 8 and 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked. And who's the wicked? So-called white race. These are the Edomites, the children of Esau. And their grandfather was Cain. They came back. That's that curse of Cain. Of Cain is Esau. That was Cain came back through Esau, and he has that mark upon him, and that's that cursed wicked nation. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, because he has a boundary that he's about to meet, and it's time for him to go ahead and be taken down and give up what he stole, the thief, which are as a shadow, and we know a shadow is temporary. It's here right for 1 second, gone the next. Because he feareth not before Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. So we know he doesn't fear the Most High. He blasphemes and profanes, right? This is a very anti-Messiah, anti-anointed society. They are adversary. Satan means adversary. The so-called white race is Satan to the Most High and his righteous ways of his commandments. So going to Job chapter 20 and verse 8. He shall fly away as a dream. That's that shadow. Here, as a dream, it fades over time. When you wake up, you forget that dream. It's the same way Esau Edom's rulership. He's here for 1 second, for a little season, and he's going to go away. And shall not be found. He won't exist anymore. According to Obadiah 1 and 10, I believe he shall be cut off forever. And then in Obadiah 1 and 18, and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. He's going to have to be taken out, because why? He's destroying the earth and blaspheming the Most High and Yahushai, and destroying his chosen seed. His chosen nation, the Israelites. And then he's destroying the earth as well, that the beautiful earth that the Most High created. So let's just go ahead and get it real quick. I had referenced it. So Obadiah 1 and 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. See, cut off forever. That's Esau Edom. And right here in verse 1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, concerning Edom. So I just want to let you get the context of what this chapter is about. It's all about Esau Edom and his future judgment for his wickedness, right? And then verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. So Jacob representing the southern kingdom, Joseph representing the northern kingdom. So the northern and southern kingdom came back together here in these last days. And when Yahushua returns, through Yahweh's appointed time, after they serve their captivity, then the Israelites are going to be aflame, because we're going to do what with them? What we're going to do with that flame? And the house of Joseph aflame, and the house of Esau, so-called white race, for stubble. That's the end result of fire being burnt. Burning upon whatever substance that it touches. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. So it says none, absolutely zero remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai hath spoken it. And why? Because of his, profane wickedness. I never read it in the New Living Translation. Let's go ahead and try that real fast. You have to be rooted in the commandments and the scriptures first, in the spirit, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, before you go into these other versions, because it can it'll lead you astray. Because sometimes these other versions go off. The best version is what? The KJV. That's the best accurate translation of the ancient Hebrew and the ancient Greek. So it says the people of Israel will be a raging fire, and Edom a field of dry stubble. So the Israelites want to burn them through Yahushua, through the Most High giving us the power to. The descendants of Joseph will be a flame, roaring across the field, devouring everything. There will be no survivors in Edom. So as that Edom is the Edomites, the so-called white race. The Most High just said, and the people that diligently translate these scriptures, they know what it's saying. Only people that are in denial and love the cave beast, so-called white race, they're the ones, chiefly those that are Christianity bug outs. They don't know anything, but they are proud and they contend and they scoff and gainsay, with a very uneducated understanding. So the scholars know what's going to happen. So there will be no survivors in Edom. I, the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, have spoken. So that's going to be it for Esau Edom, for their wickedness. Because things like this train derailment and this artificial, unnatural cause that just happened, it won't happen anymore, right? And the people won't mourn anymore. So going to Revelation 11 and 18. And the temple of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. So that's not the verse I wanted, actually. Okay, I wanted verse 18. I read 19. But yeah, it's going to be that earthquake going into the thermonuclear missiles and pure destruction and annihilation upon the earth, when those thermonuclear missiles get shot. So in verse 18 it says, verse 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. Why the nations are angry? Because they've been drunk with the wine of the whore's fornication, right? The whore being America, Babylon the Great. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets. And those are the Israelites. In their proper hierarchy and proper order, because the prophets at the top, the 144,000, and then the whole body of the 1/3 elect Israelites going to receive their reward when Yahushua returns. Into thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name. So the saints are the Israelites. So the servants, the prophets, that's the 144,000, the teachers and everyone, and then to the saints, those are Israelites. But which Israelites? The 1/3 Israelites, because all Israel are not Israel, according to Romans chapter 9, I believe, right? Yeah, and them that fear thy name. Because not everybody's fearing the name. If you look around the earth, that's why it's so wicked, because no one's fearing the Most High name. I know that I will never do anything, Lord willing, that I pray that I can have the spirit to fear his name always until Yahushua returns, and that I can endure until the end. Because it's a horrible judgment coming. And them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And that was the main key I wanted right there, the last sentence right there. Who's destroying the earth? Esau Edom. These train derailments, chlorine that's in Clorox at a very potent level being burnt, and other toxic chemicals being burnt into the atmosphere and leaking into the waters and getting to the animals and everything, right? And then it caused cancer amongst the people that are highly infected by it. So, that's what's happening, what's going on. Just wanted to give a quick update. I'll leave that link in the description. You can read the whole article for yourself. But like, the water to the Rahakwadash for another video by Hashem Yahushai. I hope this video was edifying. To the next video I say, Shalom.